It was a Saturday night, the kind where the city feels alive. Neon lights reflecting off wet streets, music pulsing from every corner, and a restless energy in the air. My wife, Alyssa, decided she wanted to go out, not just casually, but to the hottest nightclub in town. At first, I insisted we go together, try and keep the nightlight fun and shared. But the moment we stepped inside, her mood shifted. Leaning close with that sharp, mocking grin, she whispered, "If you don't like it, then divorce me." Her words cut deeper than I expected. Not from anger, but from the sheer audacity, the disrespect cloaked in playful teasing. Around us, the music throbbed, people danced, and she moved as if the room revolved entirely around her. I didn't react. No shout, no argument, no dramatic display. I stood still, letting the bass vibrate through my chest, and looked her in the eyes with the calm I'd honed over months of ignoring her provocations. And in that moment, everything shifted. She expected jealousy, an outburst, maybe even a walkout, but none of it came. My silence, my steady presence, unnerved her more than any confrontation could have. Clubgoers around us were lost in their own world, oblivious. Yet somehow, I felt like the entire nightclub held its breath, sensing the tension hanging between us. Finally, I spoke. "All right," I said, my voice low, calm, and steady, carrying just enough weight to cut through the music. That single word, quiet and controlled, hit harder than she expected. Her eyes widened, the smirk faltering for just a fraction of a second. She glanced around, searching for validation from strangers, but there was none. I didn't need to shout. No one needed to hear my words. What mattered was the realization that she had overstepped, and I had quietly taken control. In that moment, I felt the quiet force of composure. Not loud, not demanding, but impossible to ignore. Alyssa's laugh, once teasing and carefree, now sounded brittle and hollow. She moved closer to the bar, hoping a drink or a flirtatious comment could restore her dominance. But it didn't. Her confidence began to erode with every second that passed. The smirk disappeared, replaced by a flicker of fear, the kind you see when someone realizes they stir a force they can't handle. Her movements became hesitant, jerky. She fumbled for her phone, scanning for messages, excuses, anything to regain control, but there was nothing. I didn't chase her, didn't push further. My calm reply had been enough to make her panic. In those few minutes, the night transformed from playful teasing to a quiet reckoning. Alyssa looked around desperately for support, for anyone who might side with her, but the room offered nothing, only the music, the dancers, and my unwavering gaze. The power she thought she commanded slipped through her fingers. Every flirt, every casual taunt she had perfected now seemed hollow. The night she planned to dominate had become a stage where she was entirely exposed. I took a slow step toward the exit, letting her feel the weight of the moment. Panic grew with each step, and finally, she bolted, literally running for the door, nearly knocking over chairs and bumping into strangers. Her ego, arrogance, and mockery were replaced by pure terror. The night she thought she controlled had completely slipped from her grasp. I followed calmly, not shouting, not calling, letting her realize the consequences of her actions on her own. Outside, the cool night air hit her, and she froze for a moment, catching the look in my eyes, calm, steady, unshakable. In that instant, she understood she had triggered something she was never prepared for. Humiliation and fear overtook her, leaving her trembling. Finally, she reached the car, fumbled with the keys, glancing back as if begging for forgiveness. But there was none to be given. My single calm reply had accomplished what hours of argument never could. Her panic, her helplessness, and her exposed vulnerability were plain to see. The power dynamic had shifted irreversibly. I watched as she drove off, still trembling, the headlights fading into the night. Inside, the club continued its oblivious rhythm, but I remained calm, collected, unshaken. The lesson had been delivered quietly, completely. Sometimes, all it takes is a single calm response to strip away confidence, reveal true character, and force someone to face the consequences of their actions. Alyssa's night had started with arrogance and smirks, but ended with panic, reflection, and the realization that she had triggered something she was never ready to confront. In that silence, I felt the quiet power of composure triumph over provocation.